Think about how often a penny slips through your fingers without a second thought. It's the coin most people ignore, the one left behind on counters, the one that gathers dust in jars, and the one many don't even bother picking up if they see it on the ground. Yet, hidden among these copper-colored coins are treasures that could change lives, and the 1985 1-cent penny is one of those remarkable examples. While most of these coins are worth exactly 1 cent, there are rare versions, especially those with errors or preserved in extraordinary condition, that have shocked collectors by reaching auction prices between $52,000 and $130,000. That's right, something you might pass off as nearly worthless could actually be a life-changing fortune. To appreciate why the 1985 penny has captured the attention of so many collectors, we need to look at the background. By 1985, the Lincoln Memorial design on the penny had been in circulation for more than 2 decades. First introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design featured his profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a symbol of American history that most people barely looked at because it was so common. But as with all U.S. coins, errors, variations, and minting quirks have created opportunities for some of these pennies to become far more valuable than anyone ever expected. One of the reasons the 1985 penny has become so interesting is the transition period it represents. Just a few years earlier, in 1982, the U.S. Mint switched from primarily copper-based pennies to zinc-based ones due to the rising cost of copper. This meant that by 1985, all pennies were made from a copper-plated zinc core. While this may sound like a small change, it opened the door for striking errors, off-metal strikes, and planchet anomalies that collectors now hunt for. In fact, some 1985 pennies have been found with striking issues, die cracks, doubling in lettering, or other unusual mistakes that significantly increase their value. The true excitement comes from how these coins have performed in the collector's market. Auction houses and grading services like PCGS and NGC have seen high-grade 1985 pennies, particularly in mint state 67 or higher, reach prices far beyond what anyone would expect for such a common coin. And when error varieties enter the mix, that's where the numbers climb into unbelievable territory. That's when a penny worth 1 cent to most people can suddenly fetch $52,000 to $130,000 under the right conditions. Now imagine being the person who discovers one of these rare coins. You could be going through a jar of change inherited from a grandparent, or maybe you're just casually sorting through pennies to roll them up for the bank. At first glance, a 1985 penny doesn't seem special. It's just another small coin, maybe tarnished with age. But then you notice something odd. Maybe the letters look doubled, maybe the mint mark is off, or maybe the coin is so pristine it looks untouched after nearly 40 years. That's when you realize you could be holding a coin worth as much as $130,000. The thrill of that discovery is what keeps collectors and treasure hunters hooked. This isn't just about money, though the monetary value is what grabs headlines. Coins like the 1985 penny are also about history. They are artifacts from a specific time in America, produced by machines and people who could not have imagined how their small mistakes or careful strikes would one day become legends in numismatics. Every coin tells a story, and in the case of the 1985 penny, the story is one of overlooked value. It reminds us that even the smallest, most common objects can hold incredible worth if you know what to look for. Collectors often emphasize that condition is everything. A 1985 penny that has been in circulation, worn down, scratched, and handled thousands of times will almost never bring in a huge amount. But those rare examples that were never released into wide circulation, that stayed in mint sets or were carefully preserved, can command astonishing prices. It's a reminder to always look closely, because even something as ordinary as a penny can surprise you. What's even more compelling is the ripple effect coins like this have on people. When stories break about rare pennies selling for tens of thousands or even over $100,000, it sparks waves of excitement. People all over the country start digging through their jars, their wallets, their old boxes of coins, hoping to find one. And while most won't uncover a jackpot, some do, and those stories continue to fuel the passion of numismatics. The 1985 penny teaches us that rarity doesn't always come from age. Some people assume that only coins from the 1800s or earlier can be valuable, but the truth is that modern coins, when they have the right combination of rarity, error, and condition, can be worth just as much, sometimes even more. That's what makes coin collecting such a fascinating world. It's unpredictable, full of surprises, and it rewards those who take the time to look closely at what others overlook. If you think about it, the 1985 penny is almost symbolic of life itself. The things we dismiss as small or insignificant often carry hidden potential. Just as a penny is overlooked on the ground, people often overlook the small opportunities in front of them. But those small opportunities, like rare coins, can turn into something extraordinary if you recognize their value. Auction records prove the power of this tiny coin. Collectors have paid sums that seem unimaginable for a piece of copper-plated zinc. But they're not just buying a coin. They're buying rarity, history, and the thrill of owning something that almost no one else has. That's why a single 1985 penny can jump from face value to a staggering $52,000 or even $130,000 under the right circumstances. So the next time you see a penny, especially one from 1985, don't just brush it aside. Look carefully. Examine the mint mark. Check for doubling. Look at its condition. Because hidden in that coin could be a treasure that changes everything. It's happened before and it will happen again. Somewhere out there, a 1985 penny is waiting to be discovered, and the person who finds it will realize that sometimes the smallest things carry the greatest value. The 1995 United States 1-cent penny is one of those coins that on the surface appears to be just another everyday piece of change, something people hand over without thinking twice when buying a coffee or collecting from a cash register drawer. But for coin collectors and treasure hunters, this particular year carries a story filled with excitement, discovery, and enormous potential value. Most people might think a penny is barely worth noticing, but the truth is that some rare error examples of the 1995 Lincoln cent have been known to sell for jaw-dropping amounts of money, with values ranging from $46,000 all the way to $120,000 depending on condition and the type of error. That's right. Something most of us wouldn't bend down to pick up off the ground could be worth more than a luxury car or even a down payment on a house. The 1995 Lincoln penny belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series, which started back in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln on the centennial of his birth. By 1995, the coin still featured Victor David Brenner's famous portrait of Lincoln on the obverse, with the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo on the reverse. Millions upon millions were produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints that year, making the coin extremely common in circulation. But here's the twist. Massive mintages also mean a higher chance of errors slipping through the cracks. And that is where the magic of the 1995 penny begins. One of the most talked about errors from this year is the double die obverse, often called the 1995 double die penny. If you take a magnifying glass to the word liberty or the phrase "in God we trust" on the obverse of some 1995 pennies, you'll notice a dramatic doubling of the letters. Unlike many minor varieties that are barely visible, this doubling is bold and unmistakable. Collectors absolutely love this error because it can be seen without advanced equipment, making it accessible to anyone who checks their pocket change carefully. This error alone transformed the 1995 penny into one of the most famous modern coin varieties in American numismatics. While many examples of the 1995 double die penny exist, most bring modest amounts in lower grades. However, in pristine mint state condition, especially those certified by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC, the value skyrockets. Collectors chase these coins relentlessly, and when the doubling is strong and the coin is nearly flawless, the price can climb dramatically, reaching into the tens of thousands. Some rare, high-grade specimens with perfect eye appeal have commanded prices between $46,000 and $120,000 at auctions, putting this humble penny in the spotlight as one of the most valuable modern U.S. coins. But the double die is not the only error to look for in the 1995 penny. Off-center strikes are another major variety collectors hunt down. An off-center coin occurs when the blank planchet isn't properly aligned with the dies during the striking process, leaving part of the design missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, especially if Lincoln's face remains fully visible, the higher the coin's value. A dramatic off-center 1995 penny in mint state could easily be worth thousands and, in exceptional cases, push toward that higher six-figure mark. Then there are broad strike errors where the coin is struck without the restraining collar, causing it to spread out larger than normal. These unusual shapes always grab collector attention. Missing clad layers or transitional errors, although less common in the 1995 issue, can still exist and are often worth incredible amounts when discovered. Any of these rare errors, when combined with near-perfect condition, can send the value soaring into that unbelievable range of $46,000 to $120,000. Part of what makes the 1995 penny so appealing is that it's relatively modern. Unlike a coin from the 1800s that might be nearly impossible to find, 1995 pennies are still circulating today. That means the possibility of discovering one of these valuable errors remains real. Coin roll hunters, collectors, and even casual savers have stumbled upon examples that changed their financial lives. Imagine opening a roll of pennies from the bank, spotting those doubled letters on a shiny 1995 cent, and realizing you've just found a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. It's the kind of moment that keeps collectors searching day after day. The appeal goes beyond just money. The double die of 1995 is a dramatic teaching tool in numismatics. It shows clearly how die errors happen and how they can escape into circulation despite the U.S. Mint's strict quality controls. These coins embody the idea that even in a process as precise as coin production, human and mechanical error can create something extraordinary. They remind us that perfection isn't always what makes something valuable. Sometimes it's the mistakes that create treasures. Collectors also love the historical context of the Lincoln cent. By 1995, the design had already been in use for decades, and although millions were made, the double die error gave new life to the series. It turned an ordinary penny into a cultural talking point. News outlets covered the discovery, coin magazines featured it prominently, and collectors of all levels became interested in checking their change. The excitement around this error introduced many new people to the hobby of coin collecting, proving how powerful one small mistake can be. Auction houses have played a big role in cementing the coin's legendary status. Time and again, 1995 double die pennies have crossed the auction block, drawing competitive bidding. Collectors who want the very best examples will go to extraordinary lengths to secure them, and that demand drives up prices. This is how the market consistently supports those staggering values, ensuring that coins in the finest conditions can reach anywhere from $46,000 to $120,000. It's also important to note the difference between circulation finds and professionally graded coins. A 1995 penny you find in pocket change might be exciting, but its value depends heavily on condition. Only those in uncirculated, gem mint state with strong doubling bring the astronomical figures. That's why collectors often send their coins to grading companies for authentication and preservation. Holding a slabbed MS68 1995 double die penny is like holding a key to numismatic history, a coin that combines rarity, error, and condition in one perfect package. What makes this story so captivating for the general public is the thought that such coins are still out there. Every jar of pennies, every roll from the bank, every coin you receive in change could hold one of these treasures. The dream of finding a six-figure penny keeps people searching, and the more they search, the more the legend of the 1995 penny grows. Imagine the reaction of someone who discovers they've been carrying around a coin worth $50,000 in their pocket for months without realizing it. That kind of shock and delight has happened before, and it continues to inspire people to look more carefully at their coins. The 1995 penny is a symbol of hidden value, of treasure waiting to be discovered in plain sight. The next time you come across a 1995 Lincoln cent, don't dismiss it as just another penny. Hold it up to the light, grab a magnifier, and take a closer look. Check the word liberty, study In God We Trust, and see if there's any doubling. Look at the strike, the centering, and the edges. That little coin could be the key to unlocking a value ranging from $46,000 to $120,000. And that's not just hype. That's the real market value. Collectors have proven they're willing to pay that. In the end, the 1995 1-cent penny isn't just about money. It's about discovery, history, and the excitement of knowing that something so small can carry such enormous significance. It shows that treasures can hide in plain sight and that sometimes the most overlooked objects hold the greatest surprises. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the change in your pocket, the 1995 penny is proof that the world of coins is filled with wonder, mystery, and opportunity. Think about the pennies that slip through your fingers every single day. They end up at the bottom of your pockets, in a change jar, or maybe even in the couch cushions. They're so common, so ordinary, that most people don't even stop to look at them anymore. But here's the twist that makes the story so captivating. A simple, everyday coin, a 1999 1-cent penny, can sometimes turn out to be worth a small fortune. And I don't mean a few $100s or even a couple thousand. I'm talking about a coin that, in the right condition or with the right kind of minting error, has been valued and sold for staggering amounts, sometimes between $42,000 and $110,000. Imagine picking up a penny off the ground and realizing it could be worth more than a luxury car, more than a year's salary for some people, or even the down payment on a house. That's the magic and mystery of the 1999 penny, a coin that proves treasure can hide in plain sight. The 1999 1-cent penny belongs to the Lincoln Memorial Series, one of the most iconic designs in American coinage. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, whose portrait has graced the penny since 1909, when the coin was first introduced to commemorate the centennial of his birth. On the reverse, you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, a design created by Frank Gasparo that was used from 1959 until 2008. What makes the 1999 penny interesting is that while millions upon millions were minted, small details and rare errors have made certain examples stand out from the rest and catapulted their value far beyond that single cent. One of the biggest factors that makes a 1999 penny valuable is condition. Most pennies that go into circulation show wear almost immediately. They get scratched, dinged, and worn down as they pass through countless hands, registers, and coin jars. But a very small number are preserved in pristine condition, either because they were set aside right away or struck for collectors in specially prepared dies known as proof coins. These flawless or near-flawless examples, graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC as mint state 67, 68, or higher, are extremely rare. And when they appear at auction, collectors are willing to pay huge amounts to own them. That's when we see those prices climb into the tens of thousands and even push the range of $42,000 to $110,000 for the finest examples. But beyond condition, the real stars of the coin world are minting errors. The US Mint is known for its precision, but every now and then, a mistake sneaks through. These mistakes make the coin unique, and collectors love uniqueness. For the 1999 penny, errors can include double die strikes, where parts of the design appear doubled, or off-center strikes, where the image isn't aligned properly. Some have even been found struck on the wrong type of planchet, meaning the coin blank was meant for a different denomination entirely. Those kinds of errors are extraordinarily rare, and when one is discovered, it becomes a sensation among collectors. That's when a penny suddenly transforms from a 1-cent coin into a headline-making treasure. There's something especially exciting about the 1999 penny because of the timing of its release. It came at the very end of the 20th century, a transitional moment in history as the United States was heading into a new millennium. Collectors love coins that mark moments in time, and the 1999 penny feels like a time capsule from that era. It was also one of the last years of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, since in 2009, the penny's design would change to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. That gives the 1999 penny a certain historical weight. When you combine that with rare minting errors or extraordinary condition, it's easy to see why some examples have achieved such jaw-dropping values. Imagine this for a moment. You're going through a handful of change after buying a cup of coffee, and your eye catches a 1999 penny. Most people would drop it in a tip jar without even looking twice. But a collector might pause, check the details under good light, maybe even pull out a magnifying glass, and realize that this seemingly ordinary penny has something unusual. Maybe the lettering looks doubled, maybe the strike seems off-center, or maybe the coin shines with an uncirculated luster that sets it apart. That discovery moment is what drives collectors to search tirelessly, because it means a coin that cost them 1 cent could turn out to be worth tens of thousands of dollars. That thrill is hard to beat. Auctions have revealed just how much excitement surrounds the 1999 penny. Stories circulate of collectors bringing in coins they thought were ordinary only to discover they had something extraordinary. When those coins cross the auction block, the bidding can be intense. People know how rare it is to find a coin in perfect condition or with such an unusual error, and they're willing to push the price higher and higher just to add it to their collection. That's how a penny makes the leap from pocket change to a $42,000 or even $110,000 treasure. Those sales inspire others to check their own coins more carefully, fueling a cycle of discovery and excitement in the coin collecting world. The beauty of this story is that it's not locked away in the past. Unlike coins from centuries ago, the 1999 penny is still recent enough that millions are still floating around. You might have one in your wallet right now, could be in a coin jar, tucked away in an old desk drawer, or even handed back to you in change today. That accessibility makes the hunt all the more thrilling. Anyone could stumble across one of these rare and valuable pieces. It doesn't require digging through treasure chests or being a professional numismatist. All it takes is curiosity, patience, and a sharp eye for detail. The 1999 penny is also a reminder of just how fascinating American coinage really is. Every coin tells a story, not just about money, but about history, art, and craftsmanship. The penny connects us to Abraham Lincoln's legacy, to the mint's work in producing billions of coins, and to the unique quirks of human error that slip through even in the most controlled environments. It shows us that value isn't always about gold or silver, but about rarity, condition, and the stories we attach to these small pieces of metal. So the next time you see a penny from 1999, don't ignore it. Look closer. Turn it over in your hand, study the details, and ask yourself if you might be holding more than just 1 cent. Because hidden among the countless ordinary coins, there are a few extraordinary ones, worth anywhere between $42,000 and $110,000. That's not just loose change, that's life-changing money. And the best part is, the possibility of discovery is open to anyone.